So good morning, everyone. I welcome you all on 14th session of ATAL FDP on implementation of National Education Policy 2020. In this regard, I would heartily welcome Dr. Sekhar S Iyer, Professor, Director, MBA Program, Vivekananda College of Engineering and Technology, Nehru Nagar, Puttur. So now I request Mr. Chandrasekhar P, Professor, Assistant Professor, Department of EC, ATME College of Engineering, to introduce about our expert speaker for the session. Chandrasekhar sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nadim sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I feel happy to introduce our speaker, Dr. Sekhar S Iyer, Professor and Director, School of Management, Vivekananda College of Engineering and Technology, Puttur. Sir has completed his Bachelor in Business Management from University of Mysore, securing 10th rank. Sir has secured gold medal in Master of Business Administration from University of Mysore. He has also secured All India third rank in Master of Business Laws from National Law School, Bangalore. He has done PG Diploma in Labor Laws Development Administration program from Italy, and Sir has received a PhD on Impact of Quality of Work Life on Productivity. Dr. Sekhar S. Iyer is a ex-defense officer and has a 15 years of teaching experience as full-time faculty and 10 years as visiting faculty. He has put in 25 years of industrial experience. He has held a position of senior HR and administrations in leading companies and also held academic and administrative positions in various universities and institutions. Sir is a member of various professional bodies like life member of National Institute of Personnel Management and Mysore Grahakara Parishad, member of International Labour and Management Relations Association in International Labour Organization, Geneva, member of Board of Advisors in All India Corporate for Skill Development, faculty in Karnataka Police Academy and Administrative Staff College, Mysore, and also Sir is an ex-chairman of Mysore Chapter, National Institute of Personnel Management in the period 2004 till 2006. He was a ex-member of an BOS of Karnataka State Open University and ex-member of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Board, University of Mysore. Sir is also an ex-member of Mysore Maharani College Development Council. So we are very happy to have you, sir, for today's as a resource person. So once again, we are welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandrasekhar. Thanks, Dr. Mohammad Nadeem, for initiating the discussions, and thanks, Dr. Bhagyashri. Okay, very good morning to all the members of this webinar, the managing committee, the principal, and the organizers. I have been given the task of giving some inputs on the role of technical educational institutions in promoting startup, empowering entrepreneurial skills. You will see there are three areas here: technical institutions' role, promoting startups, and of course, imparting the entrepreneurial skills. Now, since this seminar, the whole FDP is a part of the NEP initiative of the Government of India, we will just have to look into briefly, a few aspects of the NEP as regards its role in startups and entrepreneurial initiatives. We all know that the vision of NEP 2090 was to have an India-centered education system which would contribute directly to transforming this great nation sustainably into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society. Let's look at it. We must remember that we would like to have an equitable and vibrant knowledge society. How? through providing high quality education. Now, the vision of India's NEP was to ensure that it touches the life of each and every citizen. Once again, you must remember this, consistent with their ability to contribute, then creating a just and equitable society. Then it proposes the revision and revamping of all aspects of the current education structure, regulation, governance, so that we can create a new system which is aligned with the aspirational goals of the 21st century education, while remaining tactfully consistent with our traditions and value systems. Our NEP, as you all know, focuses on accessibility, equity, quality, affordability, and of course, accountability. It tries to look at the education in a single organic continuum from the preschool stage to the, I can say, highest level of education. And it also focuses on various related sectors. This is where we are going to discuss now. Sectors that form the larger picture from the education point of view. Now, we start with just in about 1 minute, I'll finish this NEP aspect, then we'll go to the real aspect of startups and entrepreneurial areas. Because I wanted to give a background of this NEP, where it would focus on the skills needed for startups and entrepreneurial skills to be imparted to the students. Now, here it all talks about teaching, learning, and evaluation. We are talking of technology here now. It says integrating technology into all levels of education. So, technology is inherent in our learning process, teaching process, and evaluation process, which means students, since it's a student-centered system, students are also educated and trained, made to learn about the technology. So let's keep this in mind. Now, the next aspect is integrating the vocational education. This is where in India we have, I would say, failed. We haven't had a systematic vocational education interfacing with the mainstream of education. Now, the new education policy focuses on vocational education and says that vocational education must be an integral part of education. So it tries to provide access to vocational education to at least 50% of all learners in a matter of just about 3 years. Let's remember this. So now, it is not easy. Rather, it's easier said than done. I have always been telling that the NEP should keep in mind the skills of the teachers, the knowledge levels of the teachers, the energy levels of the teachers, the attitude of the teachers, and the culture of the teachers, and the approach of the teachers. Unless this sector or this component of the whole education system is addressed, it will be difficult for the NEP to achieve its noble objectives. So, luckily, it says capacity and quality of the teacher preparation is addressed. This is very important. Then, national skill qualification framework for each discipline, vocation, and profession. Then, Lokavidya, knowledge developed in India. This is again an important area when we are talking of startups and entrepreneurial skills. When I say Lokavidya, I am also, Lok means local, our own Indian. So let's look at local resources, local challenge, and how we can trigger startups. When we talk about startups, I'll show you a little later. There are so many dimensions, but the teachers have to, from day one, I've been telling this from day one, not when the students come to 5th semester or 7th semester, from day one, inculcate this attitude of entrepreneurial option, availability. Students should know that I don't have to necessarily depend on a job. I can do something. I can, instead of a job seeker, I can be a job giver. Now, surprisingly, I have with me some research data, some survey results conducted amongst MBA and BE students. Only about 5% have shown interest in entrepreneurial ventures. No, I'm not looking at this 5% as a small figure. In fact, I'm looking at it from a very, very positive angle. If we are churning out about 150,000, let's say BE graduates, or even 125,000, whatever it is, 5% is quite a huge number. About 7 to 8,000 students getting into the entrepreneurial area. In Karnataka itself, if we randomly, rather statistically divide this amongst various districts, you will have about 500 in about 50 or 60, 1,500 out of 1,20,000, about 8,000 people means you can imagine about 250, 300 entrepreneurs in every district, which is quite good. Which means in a matter of about 5 years, we have about 1,500 startups in each district, which is a dream. So even if 5% students have responded for the entrepreneurial option, I don't look at it as a negative part. I look at it as a very, very, very positive feedback, input. Now, this is one thing. Number second, when we talk about entrepreneurial skills, when we talk about startups, also important is the society's outlook towards this. We are not a basically entrepreneurial society. We were, let me tell you, we were long back. In fact, when Vasco da Gama came, he had brought a very huge ship with him when he wanted to discover the sea route to India. On the way, he meets an Indian who happens to be one Gujarati, some bhai. He would be having a ship which is 10 times bigger than the ship that they build in Europe. That means, you are quite capable. You are quite very entrepreneurial people, but not all parts of India. That means as a nation, as a society, we are yet to get into that entrepreneurial mode. Now, this means what? Let's look at the profile of India. We have about 53% of the population. Remember, 53% of the population is less than the age of 29. Perhaps I think we are the youngest nation in the world in terms of absolute numbers, which means about 60 crore people are less than the age of. If half of them are less than the age of 20, we have a very huge number of youngsters who are going to get graduated. Now, we should not talk about entrepreneurial skills or entrepreneurial avenues when they come to BE. It must be addressed when they are in high school stage. We must prepare the society. We must have dialogues with the parents associations, parents meetings, and very slowly, we must convert their thinking of a job into job seeker into a job giver. Unless this happens, it's difficult for the later stage when they come to PUC or BE, even for us teachers in engineering students, engineering colleges, to prepare our students to get into entrepreneurial role. Let's keep this in mind. Now, let's look at the meaning of startup. The word startup was coined very recently. Startup there long back. We say any business in the operation, any business that's conceived to take off is startup. So normally they are promoted by entrepreneurs who want to develop a product or service. Let us see service. I'm going to mark this product or service for the benefit of all of us, which they believe there is a market. Now, this is very important. They believe there is a market, is what I'm telling. Now, in MBA, we teach that market doesn't exist, it has to be created. Never. I don't think in India market existed for shoes, but it was created. I don't think in India market existed for toothpaste, it was created. I don't think so. There are many for many products and services, market was created. Let's take insurance, health insurance. So market was not there. They create. So now the question is, you must look at the potential, keeping in mind the macro scenario of a huge nation like India. If India is having a population of 138 crores, that itself is a huge number in terms of markets. In terms of market. Now, I'll just later I'll give you examples. Then you will realize the importance of the number. So I have just done some research and I have found that there are 6 types of different startups as per Steve Blank. They say a lifestyle startup, small business startup, scalable startups, viable startups, large company startups, social startups. I can add one more to this because this morning I was just thinking. It may not be a startup in the real sense, but definitely restart, revival of sick units. Instead of the word sick units, I may perhaps call it as abandoned. Out of this, I'm going to discuss about only 5 of them. Startup, small business startups, viable startups, scalable startups, offshoot startups, social startups, and as I said, revivals. Well, in the morning, I was talking about today's presentation. I spoke to some of my old colleagues in my earlier factories where I worked. For information of the people here, you have seen in my CV, I am from the industry. I am from the manufacturing industry. I worked in auto components, automobile, machine tools. So I have a fair amount of understanding of the technology, products, process, market, which I'll share in the next few slides. Now, let us look at these startups one by one so to understand. When we say small business startups, they are self-starter local companies with small teams. They using the criteria above, the average startup has come more in common with your average mom and pop shop than with Google or Apple. See, now it's a very small startup, small business startup. Now, we have been debating this. Yeah, ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈಗ ಅವರೊಂದು ಸಣ್ಣದು ಒಂದು ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಣ್ಣದೊಂದು ಅಂಗಡಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. To me, even that can be a startup, but definitely not the angadi of his father. Now, the startup gets more exciting dimension when they say it's a new concept, it's a new product, it's a new idea. Okay, we'll come to it little later again. Then many of us think that small business startups are easy, but you must remember that it is not easy to start a small business also. There is competition, no doubt about it. There is already 10 shops serving, in Bangalore nowadays, the concept is deliver breakfast home. If you want to start the same thing, the idea is similar, but a small way, but there's already competition. Someone was telling me there is competition everywhere. I said, yes. That's why we call it as entrepreneurial skills. How you think differently in terms of your services, in terms of your marketing, in terms of your technology, product, process, everything. So many times people are happy staying as startups. They want to grow, but they grow in their own speed. Most of them are self-funded, meaning there is less pressure to scale, the growth. Are beholden to the immediate needs of investors. It doesn't happen here. Okay, that's again an example of an organization called 24. Now, I am going to a very important startup type. It's called viable or saleable startups. Business built to be sold and bought out. This is where we should encourage our engineering graduates and MBAs to look for concepts here, look for products here. I can give you 2 examples. One is Captain Gopinath's Deccan Airways. Other one is latest one is Flipkart. You all know that the success story of Flipkart. Captain Gopinath envisaged the idea of low-cost airlines. I remember in 1995, I flew to Mysuru to Pune, of course, Bangalore. I think I paid about 3,500 rupees. Even today, see even of 25 years, the price is almost same. In fact, it's somewhere less. Why? Because people like Gopinath did what we call in management terms or entrepreneurial terms, destructive approach. They said, come on, let's go. He said, remove all unwanted frills. You don't have to, he said, why I should every time fly in the morning and provide breakfast? He said, let me provide after breakfast time. So he said, my flight will take off at 9 o'clock and reach there at 10 o'clock before lunchtime. So after breakfast, before lunch. Therefore, I don't provide lunch and breakfast. That much, the logistics people I save. He thought on those kind of ideas. He looked for bigger business, the large market, lesser price. And he did succeed. Of course, then see, this was the kind of business that was, had the potential to be sold or bought. Now, normally we see such startups in software and tech areas, but we have also seen, Amazon and Uber buying out even smaller startup. Mergers and acquisitions like this happen all the time. Let's remember that more than mergers, it's acquisition. If they find in marketing term, we say that remove all unwanted small competition. So what we'll do is, we don't want to worry about small player. For example, if there's a big TV manufacturer, if there's a small TV manufacturer, the big TV manufacturer would like to tell, come on, come here, man. What is your turnover? Sorry, about 10, 25 crores, 100 crores. Come on, I'll pay 300 crores. You sell the business to me. They are deleting off. They are cutting off one competitors. So mergers and acquisitions keep happening basically from a corporate restructuring point of view. Therefore, these buyable and sellable startups are very important. Next. Okay, now when we say about a startup that is meant to be sold or bought up, it seems very, very sweet idea, sweet deal, sweet thought. But building something which is worth being acquired is not that easy. Rather, it's easier said than done. It means a lot of hard work. But our youngsters should put that, use their energy, use their physical energy, mental energy, academic energy, academic knowledge to this. For example, we have seen in software, lots of startups are coming, but it's very, very, very fierce. The competition is absolutely fierce. In fact, there are thousands of startups to contend with the B2B alone. Many, many. In Bangalore, I come across lot of companies, software companies employing 25, 30, 15, 25, 30, 35, 40, 50, 55, 60, 100, like this. There are many. In fact, there's one definition of the Standing Orders Act and the Industrial Disputes Act talks about 99 workers. So many of them are stopped at 99 workers. 100, if they touch, there is a different set of rules applicable to them. Now we have to see in the new industrial legislation. Okay, I just give you an example. So then one more thing, startups don't necessarily need to be profitable to be brought out, and many of them are not. This represents a sizable risk for investors. But what I mean to say is, if you are doing well, you can sell it well. If you're not doing well also, still you are a kind of a threat to the larger players. They would like to buy out. Hey, I told you, if I'm making some 100 crore turnover, they'll pay, come on, we'll pay you. In 100 crore turnover, even if you keep a margin of about 25%, you will make 25 crore. They'll offer you 10 times that. Okay, we'll pay 250 crores. We take everything. We take all your responsibilities, liabilities, assets. People are happy. Sometimes 3 to 4 times of your turnover is what they keep in mind. This has become a kind of acquisition rule, but not necessarily. So now you see there are plenty of independent app makers and small teams that spend a few years on a business and they get sold to a larger company. And in fact, larger companies are looking at small app makers. You see now, the initial job is done. In India also, I think there was a cement plant near Hosdurga. It was earlier run by MS Ramaya Group, Gokul Cement. It was not functioning, malfunctioning. Then Madras Cements took over that. They converted that into a 1,000 tons per day unit. They produced a cement brand name Karthik Cement. Did a wonderful job. Likewise, a paper plant in Kunigal, Tumkur was churning out 30 tons of paper, which is very big per day. They had some problems. Some other company took over. But the advantage of this company selling was they had a huge land, about nearly, I think, if I remember about it, it's about 55 acres of land and a building. So they got quite a fabulous amount. It was not a profit-making startup. Then there is something called scalable startups, which stick to grow, which needs more capital. So the common thread here is the need to scale. See, whether you have 15 employees or just 1 or 2, you need some people think of growing, scaling up. A few of the startups are easy to scale than many others. For example, most consumer and business apps are examples of scalable startups, because once they build a business base, it becomes easy to acquire new customers. So it's a sort of a snowball effect. Many of them, they go for, I told you, venture capital, that so they get money. They raise capital from outside investors and they scale up. Now, there's a risk here. When you scale up too much, you should know that. I'm just giving an example of our Kingfisher Airlines. What happened? See, even in airlines, I'll show you a little later. Even in airlines, there is something called break-even. And airlines is a big business. You acquire a big aircraft, and you can't run with just 1 or 2. You must have a fleet of at least, let's say, 20 aircrafts. So you buy 20 aircraft, so much of money, operating cost. So one of a good friend of mine who is now currently flying Birla Group's private aircraft, he told me it's about 65% break even. Means he says you must have an occupancy rate of 60% at least, just to keep yourself flying, means floating, means staying. So you cannot you cannot be flying to all parts of the country, all parts of the world when the occupancy rate is less than 60%. So he went for more and more. SBI, for example, SBI gave him a lot of money. You all know that the scandal happening between Mallya and SBI and other things. So luckily Mallya could get, but we don't get it. The kind of capital. Then offshoot startups. This is again a very important thing from the point of view of learning for youngsters engineers. See, here there is an advantage. In fact, not all types of startups are built from the ground level. There are some startups which will branch off from the larger companies to become their own entities. In fact, when TVS Group, you all know, they are basically into auto components. The oldest was Lucas TVS, Sundaram Fasteners, Sundaram Abex. Their expansion was horizontal. They went into new products. They were growing vertically, but they also looked at related components related. So there was I think they were making Sri Chakra tires. It's a TVS Group company. Then TVS Finance. Then Harita. There's a company called Harita. They make seats for Volvo buses. So you see now, from making auto components, they branched off into, there was an offshoot of startups in the area of tires. They said that if you are making, see, now they are manufacturing, you all know, 3-wheelers. Each 3-wheeler needs 4 tires. So if they are making 2 lakh 3-wheelers or 3 lakh 3-wheelers per year, they need 12 lakhs tires. So instead of buying elsewhere, they buy from their own. So they have their own market. So this kind of offshoots might be established in an effort for a bigger company to enter new market or disrupt a small competitor. That's entirely possible. They say, why we'll start our own. So this is offshoot startups. Now then we have, of course, social startups and non-profit startup. As the very name says, not all startups are stereotyped, which are growth obsessed and money hungry. There are some startups that are specifically designed to do good. These are called social startups, which include charities and non-profits. They scale for the sake of philanthropy. Now, the very concept of social startup is contrary to the concept of business startup. Somebody said they cannot be a social startup. They can be a social endeavor. When I say startup, we have definitely the economic dimension. When I say economic dimension, you are there to put money and get more money out. Here in social startups, we put money, we don't get even money out. We get financed by some big companies, some under CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. However, having said that, I can say that there are some social startups which operate on no profit, no basis. It's a non-profit. Some of them operate on very mild margin, say about 8%, 3%, 4%. So this only now with the advent of technology, there are startups in the social areas connecting parents with with the children, then connecting old people, aged people with the medical teams. So they are doing some startups and they do not want to charge more. But then in India, we don't see much of this. But eventually we will see. See, once people have some kind of money, they would like to spend some money in the back to society also. Then social startups will come up. Now, if you look at industry-wise, we have more startups in software and technology-related areas. Then, of course, in marketing, advertising, retail, e-commerce. I just give you an example of Flipkart. Now, there are many cards. There is a pharma card which talks about pharmaceuticals, supply of pharmaceuticals, and there is also lens card where. So, auto card, you get auto components. While big companies like Amazon, they want to ask for anything, they'll give. But there are specific companies. For example, medical items, pharmaceutical items, medicines. I myself have experience. It's fairly good, fairly faster. You just click on say I want some Sulicen tablet for diabetes, and in a matter of 2 days it's delivered to your house at about 25% lesser price. Compare this to you have to get up in the morning, take your or walk or take your car or scooter, go to medical shop. You say, ask, he says, sir, adilla, I haven't have stock, I'll get you day after tomorrow. Then he says you pay some advance. You pay advance, then he gives you after about 3-4 days. Again, you have to go there to collect it. You made 2 trips to that medical shop and you ended up paying, let's say, 80 rupees for a strip of 10 tablets. Whereas if you just click and pay through online, you get the same thing for about, I think 20% off means for 64 rupees for a strip of 10 tablets. Now, you may ask how it happens. Because they cut away all the in-between intermittent overheads, logistics. We teach students the traditional marketing channels like manufacturer, sole distributor, distributors, wholesale distributors, then retailers. With the 4 or 5 levels, definitely you can see that if each level takes away 8%, there's 40%, 50% more. And let me tell you, that kind of a margin is very huge in pharmaceutical industries. I was talking to one pharmaceutical company because I was doing research on the e-commerce for medicine. That fellow told, no, sir, we have lost the market completely. Now, most of the medical stores, they are offering 10% now. See, no, they came down. They said, we have to survive. They're offering 10%. I am told that they get a margin of nearly 40%, 45%. If they sell one tablet worth 10 rupees, they get easily 4 rupees. And imagine in a day, if they make a business of 10,000, you can imagine what is the kind of this thing. I'm trying 10,000 very small. So I was asking him, then he said, no, sorry, no, 2 things came up. One is pharmaceutical companies are not bothered whether they sell through a medical shop or whether they sell through a link like this pharma cart or what. I was getting something from Med Plus medicine. So they do it. So I'm just giving an example of how new areas, new concepts come. Then healthcare. Now again, in one of these companies called me and said that, sir, pay for 900 rupees, we'll make some 56 different checks. They collected, they came to our house, collected my blood sample and urine sample, and by 24 hours I got a report on my email and my mailbox. Then ready, fine. Now imagine I have to go to the doctor's saying morning fasting. I have to go and give the blood, then come back. Then sir, you come. He says come after 2 days. I will collect. Then after 2 days ago they give a report. Then you pay something like 1,500 rupees. You see, no? Then of course ITBT, insurance, education, real estate, environmental energy. Somebody I was discussing. You should know. I think there are some people in your college teaching environment science, environmental laws. There are 4 areas where the country is going to focus. One is the municipal solid waste management. There is a kind of a system, budget, and when they are talking about smart cities, for example, say Mysore smart city or Tumkur smart city or Mangalore smart city, huge amount is given to them for these kind of activities. Now, one of the students generated an app, for indicating how when the bin is full, trash full, how it gives indication there that you have to come and clean and all. That kind of apps. Then there are 4 areas where this offers scope. I'm talking of specifically municipal solid waste. This is called domestic waste. We generate in our houses. There's a point of generation, which in houses, then we dump it in one box, then we generate, becomes a waste. It is collected by the corporation municipality. So generation, collection, transportation, storage, then dumping or disposal. No, there are very small towns like Hunsur, Nanjangud, or even still smaller towns like Kriyapatna and all. There's scope for some engineers to go and say, yes, we will do the whole thing. They'll give a proposal to the government, say this is my detailed proposal, and no, what is called, we call margin. No margins included this directly. So, in fact, in these areas, government wants someone to take the initiative. Just look at the number of people in this country generating. If each of us generate, let's say, 10 plastic bags or 5 plastic bags per day, we all do it. If in a house, if you buy 4 packets of milk, 4 packets, then you kurkure, then that, these, so many things. You go to market, you buy something, they give them. So the packaging covers, packages, etc. They account for nearly 63% of the waste that we generate at home. Let's remember. So there is a huge scope for startups in that area. Then biomedical waste. My God, another area where you have. Then e-waste. Now we are talking of engineering college, e-waste. There is a particular law for collection, storage, disposal of e-waste. Then industrial wastes. Many times we don't know what kind of industrial waste. The concept of industrial waste is the industry that puts something into the system, something comes out as a product, then there's a byproduct, then there's a waste. And please remember, then there's an effluent. The heat that goes out of a cement plant is taken back, sucked back, and put on the limestone, to reduce the moisture content of the limestone. See, the heat that goes out emitted is a waste. Environmentally hazardous waste that's collected and used back here. Likewise, in the iron and steel industry, a lot of gaseous waste goes. It can be collected and reused. Earlier, the white sludge that in iron and steel plant products was wasted. Now they use it for cement. Quarry, the complaint to quarry was they generate a lot of dust and powder. No, they're collecting the dust and powder. They're using it elsewhere. What I mean to say is just keep your around. Lot of things can happen. I'm just talking of environmental and energy. Yes. Blockchain and cryptocurrencies, of course, it's only for some specialists, but anybody can think of it. Then hospital. Then coming to this area, auto components, castings and forgings, auto electricals. Now, why I have included these areas is there is one company called Heidelberg Cements in Germany, Heidelberg. They have acquired few companies in Karnataka. I think notably one is that near Tumkur, Ambasandra. It's a Birla company. They acquired. When I went there, Heidelberg is not a very big company. Then in Mysore, there is one company called OKS Lubricant. Now it is called by some other name. German company. If you look at the parent companies, in somewhere in Germany, they started one lubricant unit in Mysore. Industrial lubricants, auto lubricants. It was called OKS Lubricants. Now the company name is changed. It's in Mysore. So they have some few plants in. They came and they started here in Mysore. Likewise, why can't we think of components and products manufactured? Let's say in Europe, why you have to import? Castings, forgings, auto electricals, auto electronics, agro-related. No, this area is very potentially high. Agro-related products. We say we basically claim ourselves to be an agrarian economy. It's true because about 45% percent of the population still depends on agriculture for their income. Whereas to the national exchequer, to the GDP, agriculture I think contributes about 17%, industry about 28%, which is 45% put together. Then about 55% comes from service sector. Therefore, there is abundant scope in service sector for startups. However, having said that, even if the agriculture contributes 70% of the GDP, let's not forget that our GDP is nearly $3 trillion. If this thing is $3 trillion and something like 15, 16, 17% of 3 trillion is 500 billion. So we should keep in mind all these factors. Now, what are the agricultural wastes? Let's take, for example, sugarcane. I call it as a kalpa, even this thing also, coconut also. Sugarcane, if you crush sugarcane, you get juice and you make sugar. The byproduct, which can be used to make paper or many more things. Another byproduct, grasses. Another byproduct is, I think, spent mud that can be used for agricultural this thing. So nothing goes waste there. In fact, I don't know how many of you have seen, many of the sugar companies also have put up a plant called cogeneration plant. They generate electricity, energy, using the bagasse. The only issue is when you burn the bagasse, you would generate a lot of dust of fly ash. There's a mechanism to collect it, but not so much eco-friendly. But instead of your waste byproducts. So then you shown local resources based. One must keep in mind the lookout for what are locally we generate, whether it's agricultural product or some minerals available or some this thing available, whether we can make something out of it. Not necessarily traditional concept, new concept. Tourism based, of course, travel based, electronics. I just give an example of the wide range of startups that are available to us. Now, I thought it essential for me to share this kind of inputs with the teachers because we, the teachers, have to spread the idea of opportunities. Various opportunities, my God, you see now, I've listed galore, 130 billion, 130 crores people, 1.3 billion population. That itself is potential. See, ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನನಗೆ ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ರು ನಾನು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. You'll be surprised and shocked. ಏನದು ready-made blouse. We have ready-made shirts. I went to Bangalore. I saw in one shop, I think some Tukaram stores in that Vivekananda for long back. Then I gave this idea to one lady. Why you want to, after MBA, why you want to spend waste time? Madu idanna. So I said, all you need is to put up a small garments plant, factory. All you need is sewing machines, of course, automated. Couple of other equipments, instruments. I told we can easily give jobs to about 50 people to start with, and that too females, that too village. For example, you put up a plant, let's say somewhere near between Bannuru and Mysuru. People are around that villages. There are a lot of ladies villages. They offer themselves for this kind of jobs. You don't need a BTech textile or BE or just need SLC pass. You train them for about a few months and they can do a good job. So why don't we look at these kind of things? Less capital offers, generates employment, and market is there. Now, today the marketing is, you don't have to see, all you have to do is to you say that you create a website and you say these are the colors, these are the sizes, this is the texture, I am blouse available. All the buyer is to need to tell you the size, tell you this thing, and nowadays we get shirts for all sizes. We get L, XL, medium, large, 38, 40, 42, 44, like that they can create. Or else, alternatively, you can tell the concerned females, you let us know your standard thing. We will. So there is a huge scope, and still, let me tell, still, lot of people wear blouse. Look at the market. Look at the market potential. You all should know that Tirupur is the, I can say, world's base for producing bunions. Tirupur and surrounding areas. My God, so many industries, so many this thing. They're flourishing. So, from the institution point of view, all we need, see, when you talk about entrepreneurship, startups, it's mind, it's energy, it is intention to do. I will do, I can do. No, don't worry about technology, finance, machinery, equipment, place, everything can come. First, the person must have the will to keep the first step. What is the first decision? No job. I don't want to go to job. I will do my own. What kind of one? Yeah, I have a big list with me. Let me select that is close to me, close to my heart, close to my place, close to the raw materials, close to the market, close to the skilled labor available, everything. So we need, as I mentioned earlier, education institutions can play a very prominent role in inculcating this thing for startups, but then it cannot happen when they come to first year BE. It must happen when they are in 9th or 10th. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೂ ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಲ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನಾನು ತಮಾಷೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಮೈಸೂರು ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಎರಡು ಆಂಬಿಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು 30-40 ಅಥವಾ 40-60 ಮೂಡ ಸೈಟ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಗಳನ್ನ NI, ಇವಾಗ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ATME, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅವರು ದೇ ಆರ್ ದ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ದಿಸ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀನು SLC ಮಾಡು, PUC ಮರಿಮಲ್ಲಪ್ಪಾಗ ಹೋಗು, PUC ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲೋ ಹೋಗು, you score 95%, then you will get seat. Ultimately, we are grooming them to go to an engineering college, and what is unfortunate is people who pick up specializations in mechanical, industrial production, textile, they also go to software line. Unfortunately, I worked in Kirloskar Ferris. I worked in automotive executive. We had acute shortage of mechanical engineers. When I was in Kirloskar Ferris in 2006, my MD Atul Kirloskar asked me, Shekhar, you are a HR master. Tell me why I don't get B. Sir, they are all going to software. Why they are going to software? Sir, attraction, salary. Then he told all of us, you please make your canteen attractive. You please make your job attractive. You please make your salary. Sir, we are hardly paying this much. They are paying 60. I'm talking of 2006, 2007. They are paying, he said, 16,000. We will pay. We will pay. I came to Mysuru at that time, NI. I picked up 4 students and I went to Kirloskar and I told that I think my friend Datta Kumar was there. I said, I want 2 mechanical, 2 IP students for my factory. They're very happy. But when I asked them, he says, sir, they prefer software industries. And even my own son is not an exam. Even he also went to software line after doing mechanical. Unfortunate. A person who joins, let us say, a Kirloskar Ferris type of a company at the age of 22 as a graduate trainee engineer. He becomes assistant manager 3 years, deputy manager another 2 years, manager 3 years. In about 15 years to 18 years, he'll become general manager, and 20 years, he'll become vice president. And I don't think the salaries are less there. I told somebody in the factories, we give food, almost subsidized food. We charge about 100 rupees, say 200 rupees per month, which is hardly 8 rupees per day. Arda cup tea sigala horade. We give one breakfast, one lunch, and 2 cups of coffee in the manufacturing industry. We provide free transportation. We provide uniform. We provide shoes. If Infosys were to give all these things, they will add it in their CTC. So people don't, the whole objective, the society is tuned to the children going to ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಒಂದು ಇದಾಕೊಂಡು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಕಲ್ಚರು ಎವ್ರಿ ಶನಿವಾರ ಭಾನುವಾರ ಮಾಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು. Now, where are we producing entrepreneurs? What is the mindset of the teachers? What is the mindset of society? We need to address all the three. Students, they have to be groomed from that stage. As I told you, people say from SLC or at least first year PUC. They must hear a good, exciting stories about entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial success, even a couple of failures. They should know that how. See, I was telling, we have to remember Swami Vivekananda in this connection when we talk of entrepreneurs. He is our own Indian Hindu monk. He said 3 things. Believe in yourself. For entrepreneurs, you must inculcate this kind of attitude in students. Belief, self-belief, believe in yourself. Number 2, drive the fear out. Number 3, Swami Vivekananda said one wonderful sentence. Take chances, take risk. If you succeed, you can lead. If you fail, you can guide. When Thomas Alva Edison finally invented the bulb, he said, now I know 100 ways of how a bulb can fail, how not to make a bulb. You see, no, he is coding, he is summarizing his experience of having failed 100 times. He says, now I know how not to make a bulb 100 times, 100 ways. Then making a bulb in one way. So many times when success happens, we think that's the only way we can succeed. No. People who fail, they look at success from many angles. Oh, I can come this way, I can do this way. So we should inculcate that sense of not to worry about, not to fear failure. Take chances, take risk, focus, stay focused. If you win, of course you will lead, you will become leader. But winner success is very blindful. It shows us only one way. Failure opens our eyes, makes us to look at many ways. I would rather prefer some kind of failure in the beginning. It makes me a complete entrepreneur. If I'm into success directly, please let us not forget that success is heady. Success is contagious. We want to keep succeeding. We don't want to fail. If you look at the world West Indies team, ಅವರು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಸೋತೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಸೋಲು 1976 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಹೋಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ 406 ರನ್ ಹೊಡೆದ್ರು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Chasing a total of the 4th innings, India scored 406 runs. West Indies could not digest that failure because they had not seen failure. They never expected an ordinary time like India avaga without helmet. 1976. Of course, we had the greats of Mahendra Ramanath, Sunil Gavaskar, Vishwanath, and some Kirmani, wonderful players. They scored. Why I am telling this example is for them only success was in their mind. They could never expect that failure. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಬಹಳ ಜನ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, 1983 ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕಪ್ ಮೊದಲು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡೀಸ್ ಟೂರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಜಾಗ ಇದೆ ಬಾರ್ಬೈಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಒನ್ ಡೇ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ಡ್ 283 ರನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಡೇ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್. ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಬಹಳ ಜನ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಕಪಿಲ್ ದೇವ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ಡ್ ದಟ್ ಇಫ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬೀಟ್ ದ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಸ್ಕೋರಿಂಗ್ ಸಚ್ ಎ ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡೀಸ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಟು ಅಸ್. ಸಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಔಟ್ಲುಕ್, ಮೈಂಡ್ ಓವರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್. Kapil Dev mind was very firm. He says, we will win because we have won. West Indies thought, what? After all, 183 runs, India We can score it off in about 18-20 hours. Look at their attitude. So we need to groom a set of students who can accept failure and success. They should know what it means. Okay, now the question is which type of startups? I give you example. Now maybe we are a little bit confused. There are so many things, so many dimensions. Let me tell you. Not all startups are for all. It's not a one size fit. So people should know that there are many types of startups and how they grow. No matter what sort of business you are looking to build, a comprehensive understanding can help you to stay connected with customers as you scale. Now, let us look at the kinds of entrepreneurial skills we need. Before we talk about entrepreneurial skills in HR, human resource development, we teach SKAO, skills, knowledge, attitude, and other attributes. Skills, as you know, is the skill of the expertise in doing a job. For example, typing, writing a letter, working on a machine, soldering. So if these are skills, one pickup, one driving, for example, then playing a guitar, all skills. Then knowledge. Knowledge should be in depth. Attitude. This is very important. More than SK, attitude is important. I said we have to build that mindset. Next is, I mentioned a few of them. RPQ means risk propensity quotient. Normally, when you groom entrepreneurs, they should be allowed to take risks. They should be encouraged to take risks so that their propensity to take risks is always moderate and high. So this risk propensity quotient should be high for entrepreneurs. Take risk, take chances. Remember Swami Vivekananda. Then intensity, just be intense about it. One of the vice presidents of a top company says, I would like to recruit people who have intensity and passion. He says, I can train all other things. I can make them speak up English. I can make them write letters. I can make them use Excel, PPT, Word, anything. But I need people with intensity and passion. Then energy levels. Then zeal, enthusiasm. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, I'm repeating once again, we need a good RPQ, that is risk propensity quotient, risk-taking ability. Creativity. We must encourage our students through brainstorming to see. We have in our Vivekananda College a program called Samanmaya. It's called Forum Activity. We tell them you come out with some new product, some damn new product, crazy product. Someone came and said that I'm developing a two-wheeler where I can use air and water only. What kind of water? It's a processed water. Yes, I'm given, and it will cost you about something like 20 rupees per liter. Now, creativity has some level of madness, some conception. Now, we all have seen Pushpaka Vimana. It was there in Ramayana, Tetra Yoga. It's a concept. Actually, in India, Pushpaka Vimana happened. If you look at Ramayana and Mahabharata, some of those are concepts. Those things, surgical strike. What Hanuman Anjaneyya did was surgical strike. Identity, ID card. Anjaneyya went to Sita Mata and said that how do you believe? He said, this is what it is. You see now, people should very creative. Green means fresh in the thoughts. When I say green, it means young, energetic, not grey, not corrupted mind. It's an open mind. Then sustainability means, as I told you, one failure, no. Things not happening, don't worry. Sana maade demand illa, baratte, kai, just wait. Wait. Slowly it will come, pick up. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 32, 64. Afterwards, you will not have time to service, sell. Then passion. You must be very passionate about that business, that product. I don't know how many of you are aware of the fact that when we had a vehicle called Bajaj Chetak scooter. Even I have used that. I think I used from 1983 till 2002. And Hamara Bajaj, that was the song. Buland Bharat ki Buland Tasveer. So when they gave up that product, I eventually think, see, this is an example of technology change. Eventually, Rahul Bajaj was not very happy about terminating that product. That's the kind of passion they had on there. And I don't know how many of you are aware. In the year 1980, 81, 83, Bajaj Chetak was sold only on dollars. If you pay dollar, you get Chetak. You can't buy, at the time, you can't buy a Chetak scooter by paying Indian rupees. See, dollars. Likewise, even in our own Java, I think Java Road King was sold on dollars. Lot of that company Java should have not have closed, because people are passionate about that particular product called Java motorcycle. Even today, I'm crazy about it. You know that today a lot of people buy a old Java paying 2 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs, 3 lakhs for a old Java motorcycle. That's passion. Then zeal, intensity. This I already mentioned to you earlier. Now, in our new economic policy, we have some provisions which I'm happy that they have made specific reference of this Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Continuous Professional Development, NSDA, National Skill Development Agency, NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation, NSQF, National Skills Qualification Framework, Sector Skill Council, State Skill Development Mission, and of course, what we are forgetting in India is we have a wonderful network called Industrial Training Institutes, which are in fact the skill development centers. There is no need for us to formulate separate skill. If you make systematic use of ITIs, run them, equip them with modern machines, equip them with the new technology-oriented machines, I think we can do a wonderful job in generating skills. And we should also change. Why the old same concept of fitter? So now you ask the industries, what do you want? What kind of you want? There is one machine called surface mounting machine. It's pick and place. So train them, tell them how to program a surface mounting machine, how in a printed circuit board the components are picked and stuffed. So things have to change. Then CNC machines, then new technology. So we have already, there is buildings are there, teachers are there. Then upgrade the buildings, upgrade the teachers, refresh and give them refresher course. Then you have things. What pains me is that in India we lose these traditional links like LIC. My God, LIC has branches all over. We allowed private insurance to come. Then we have post office. Everywhere we have post office, postal network. They luckily they are into now new concepts, new saving schemes in ATMs. They can start postal banks. What I mean intending is that we should keep in mind the traditional areas. Now I don't know about ATM institution college. Please look at all your machineries, laboratory equipments, instruments, machineries as a resource. See whether you can have an entrepreneurial cell. Most of them have board. No, not that. I'm not talking about that board with a room and some conduct 1 or 2 programs and submit report, put it in your NAC report or no. Entrepreneurial cell means it must be an area where something is happening. We can involve district industry center. We can involve entrepreneurs in council of. So people, you can involve people to come and talk to students. There are so many equipments in your college. Now all these things is needed. Then you talk to the government and say, why don't you give us some subsidy? We'll start a skill development center or entrepreneurs center. Now we are getting, I think, under there's a scheme called NEP, New Age Incubation Network. We get some money, but then they're all structured and regulated areas. Not like that. They must come and see. For example, ATM, they must say, okay, this college has got all the facilities, all the equipments, machineries, there are taking stuff. Some people, they want to operate 1 or 2 retired people as the see. Then you have a center there. It's not a cell; it's an entrepreneurship development center where things happen, discussions, products, display, try, attempt, new part, new this thing. And I don't think finance can be a constraint. Now with the NEP, college can approach, tell them, you fund us, we will do this here in our college. Okay, now I was telling very rosy picture about startups. Let us now look at the how. If you look at point number 4, 5, 6, those are the areas where we have to be aware. I don't think that we should be, we should fear that. We should be apprehensive about, but we should be aware that there is something called technical viability, economic viability, sustainability. Now, as you all know, startups start with an idea, with a dream, with an idea. What kind of idea? It can be the most stupid idea, let me tell you. Many times people have said it's stupid. How can it happen? It happens. It happened. Flipkart happened. New concepts happen. I remember there was something called pager. PPL came up with a concept with an equipment called pager. You have pager with you. Supposing the other person has also a pager, I can text one message to him, meet me. So that became a big thing. But unfortunately, the technology onslaught was such that mobile company started the SMS service. It knocked out the pager. No more pager. No, the cell phones knocked out the landline phones. See, no. Cell phones knocked out the camera market, photographic camera market. In fact, with the video conferencing and all, even people are they start traveling this. Now, with the work from home, you are gifted a new concept to the managements of software companies. Why not you work from home only? Why they have to come here? Nothing. There's no need for them to come. In fact, we have been talking about the work from home long back. I remember giving a presentation about work from home way back in the year 2004, 2005. After 15 years, it was implemented by most companies, and now they find it comfortable. Now, can you people think of some kind of service linking the working people from home and their management? Can you provide some logistics to them? There can be startup there. Okay, concept, then project, it becomes a project. You prepare a project report where you detail out what you want to do it. In that project report, these 3 things are very important. Technical viability means technically is it viable? Do you have necessary technology? Is it possible? Do you get? Then economic viability, that I'll show you later. Sustainable, whether it's environmentally sustainable. Are there any prohibitions, any hazards there? Then success. Startup should ultimately find success. I told you, success may not be in the first. There can be a delay, there can be dragging, there can be initial failures, hiccups, but finally we need success. Then we are to sustain in the long run. Now let's look at this. Technical viability. Now, whatever we are talking of, we must understand that technology correctly, whether it is a product or a service, whether that technology already exists and you are improving it, whether it is an imported technology, or whether you are innovating on something new. If it's existing technology, no problem. If it's imported technology, we have to rely on the other country. I use the wrong word, imported is imported, or innovated. So we need to understand the technology, which is very important. You must also anticipate if there is going to be any onslaught on your technology by your own technology standards or some new technology. Can you sustain that technology? As I told you just now, pace of change of technology, certain products, the technology doesn't change much. For example, we have been using what is called carburetor in 2-wheelers. They don't think there's much change about that. Engines, they say 2-stroke, 4-stroke. But when it comes to cell phones, my God, there's an onslaught of that change. It gets knocked out. You're there, either hale cell phone bisaku anತಾರೆ. That's gone. I don't even know how a cell phone can become stale or outmoded or obsolete, but they say, my son tells, Daddy, you buy that Apple, ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಅದು 70,000 ಇದು 15,000. But that is superior. It's a new technology. ಅದನ್ನು ಕೈಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೇಬಾರಂತೆ. This is no. I'm not when youngsters talk about like that, it means that technology onslaught, new technologies onslaught on the old technology. Then your machineries and equipment, even this is very important. For example, there may be some mechanical teachers there. I think please attend IMTechs and electronics people. There was Electronica in Bangalore. I don't know how many of you attended. Please go there. You see the technology there. What you studied in your BE and MTech and PhD and what you have been teaching here, you will find the difference between that and the new technology. Electronica was held on December 16th last year, 2021. Now I think IMTechs they want to hold. I don't know whether it's on. Go there, go and see. You will see. You will see new machines, new concepts, new technology. Even in CNC itself, 3-dimension, 4-dimension, 5-dimension profile cutting. So we see. I always keep telling that to know the technology, to understand technology, you don't have to be a technical person. Thus, let us first get it right. If I want to know more about that technology, I need the help of a technical person. But to understand the concepts, technology, what's the CNC machine concept? I know. You program it, you put the thing, then operations happen, whether it's drilling or facing or turning, whatever it is, then the products comes out and everything is auto-checked. You are feeding that quality control dimension check in advance. No, if there are technicalities in this technology, I don't know. Somebody be mechanical or MTech, they should come and help. But then please let us understand that to understand technology, you don't have to be a technical expert. It's a common sense. For example, compared to the manual stuffing of components into a PCB, a printed circuit board, then a surface mounting machine, it's a technology. It does, you program it and it says to the slot number so and so you put this 58 out of put on capacitor. So 58 goes and puts it. So it goes and puts that component, whether it be a capacitor or a diode or whatever it is, transistor there, and all the components stop. Then there is the concept called wave soldering. Instead of soldering it alone, then you put the whole thing on a PCB and move it across that wave soldering equipment. And from the bottom, the soldering is done. I'm not a technical man. I'm a BBM MBA. It's all understanding the technology. So for an entrepreneur, why I'm telling this is, you from engineering college, please go to SSLC and PUC, explain to them about these kind of simple technologies. What is stroke engine? What's a four-stroke engine? What's a carburetor? If they come to know about these things, their mind starts thinking, can they look at something alternative for this? Then let's look at the next concept. So then technology has also got what is called productivity dimensions. Please remember, business means you have to input, output. The output must be more for the same input, or for the same output, input must be less. Your use of power, other material should be as much as possible less. So they look at productivity dimension, then look at quality dimension. Will the end product meet the specifications of your customers? Then safety dimension. Please remember, I'm talking of the production safety, means your manufacturing unit safety, safety of the employees, safety of the customers, end product. Then environmental dimension is very important. What kind of waste you are generating? Then HR dimension. In any technology, I mean, you train people for some technology, tomorrow the changes, then see, unfortunately, somebody said all our engineers are trying to become software engineers, programmers. One kind of training. Just in case tomorrow there is something wrong, something new, it will be difficult for these people to get themselves re-equipped with some new skills. They are used to that. They can't do anything beyond that. Say first year, second year, third year, I always keep telling BE students, please, when you come to MBA, be careful. Don't forget your BE skills. When they come to MBA, they talk more about marketing and things, they forget that. If that can happen in 2 years, let's say you go and join an organization, you keep doing certain things for 10 years, gone. Therefore, in HR, we are worried about training and retraining, especially when it comes to technology onset. Now, let's look at economic viability. Whether it's product or service, the economic viability is same. We have the inputs, I say 5 M's, men, money, machinery, materials, etc., etc. There's a process. Technology, when I talk about viability, it's cost. Viability plus cost. Then when it comes to finished product, branding, trademark. Then risk assessment, legal requirements of your business. Now more specifically, economic viability, inputs, raw materials. You may conceive a product, a service, but do you have the raw materials available there? Is it a reliable source? Do they match your technical specifications? Are there going to be any obsolescence in the raw material field? Do you have alternate sources, alternate specs, alternate materials? Should you import only? Can't you think of import substitution? Then likewise, we have inputs, HR inputs, people. You can think of a startup, but do we get the necessary people trained? In India, we say that we produce so many engineers. Then on one side, then Mr. Murthy of Infosys says only 5%, 8% are employable. So it is not just MBA or BE or so availability, reliability. You see now training. Then specifications. Are your students industry ready? Do we get ready-made people? No. Do they become obsolete? Do we need to retrain them? You must also keep in mind employment laws. You must keep in mind people have worked in alternate technology. Then you must keep in mind today HR means global HR, not just Indian HR. Then when it comes to inputs, I'll just take about another 10 minutes. I think time given to me is normally ಪಾಪ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಲಂಚ್ ಟೈಮು, ಹಸಿದವರ ಮುಂದೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳಬಾರ್ದಂತೆ. Am I right, Professor?
Sir, you can take your time, sir. We are happy to listen to you.
For you, it is compliance of the program. For them, it is also a compliance, but under compulsion. Anyway, I'll continue. I'll be brief. I am coming to the end. I am coming to the climax. Don't worry. So when it comes to machinery equipment, you must keep in mind that many alternatives available in technology, in machinery. In technology, you must also take risks because of obsolescence, availability, import or local. You can import CNC machines, but Indian companies also make wonderful CNC machines. You can import most of the electronic machines, but India, I have seen the other day, I went to Electronica exhibition. Many Indian companies are coming out with excellent products. For example, a wonderful surface mounting machine. Then space. See, why I'm putting exhaustive list is we must keep in mind, we must address these issues. That's the job of an entrepreneur, manager. We are not an operator. We are managers. We are entrepreneurs. We must keep in mind all these aspects. Availability of equipment, import if required, spares, maintenance, service, upgradation, capacity constraints. For example, I don't know how many of you are aware. If you buy if you want to make, let's say, I asked somebody, I want to make a very small. In fact, I had proposed one LED bulb manufacturing unit as a startup in one of the colleges. So the supplier, who was my friend who was a production manager of a LED bulb unit, he told me, Sekhar, you decide what kind of thing you want, capacity you want. You can get machines worth 15 lakhs for one particular capacity. So many bulbs can be made, so many PCBs can be made, including SMPS, switch mode power supply. Then the next stage is, it says it is not just, it is more. So, for example, I'll give you a little more easier example. Cement plant. You have a plant capacity of 3,000 tons per day. The next is 6,000 tons per day. You can't say I'll make it 5,000 tons per day. No, it comes in certain lots. So you must keep that in mind, that capacity constraints. Then very closely associated with the capacity constraint concept or issue is the capacity augmented. Supposing you want to augment it, you have to go to the next stage only. Now, for example, again, I'm going to coating cement and paper plants and even sugar plants. Sugar plants, let's say, have capacity of 5,000 tons crushing, because it depends on their the entire process. They have a technology, a machinery process that can do this much only. You can do less, but you will be wasting. So if it is 5,000 tons of crushing per day, sugarcane crushing per day, the next stage is you have to put another plant of 5,000 tons. Now, you must get so much of sugarcane, you must have so much of power, market. Likewise, even so you must keep these factors in mind. Then utilities, some of the startups need water. I know somebody say that, will mini hydel project. What mini hydel? No, the water comes. Now, you please tell me, in India, in South India, in Karnataka, how many mini falls are now in the month of February? It has water. January, February. None. Except during monsoon. That is only in the months of July, August, September, October, maximum number. 4 months, these mini hydel, mini waterfalls, where you can put 1 or 2 turbines, small turbines, and generate power. Now the question is, go back. Economic viability. Water. If water is going to flow in that speed only for 4 months, just because you see water flowing, then Papa ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾಳ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಹುಡುಗರು, ಮಿನಿ ಹೈಡಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು AICT ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ KSD ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪಿಕಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ an MBA teacher. I am worried about the economic viability. I am worried about inputs. Do you get see, for a small hydel project, if I had to invest in that kind of small turbine, if I have a roaring business in those 4 months, means if I can generate enough power in those 4 months, I am very happy. Earlier, sugar plants were called seasonal industry. They are only because nowadays is no season. They work for nearly 9 months, 10 months, 2 months they shut down for maintenance. Earlier it's called seasonal factory. Why seasonal? Because sugarcane was grown only seasonally. You are getting inputs only seasonally. Even cotton also. Cotton is. But nowadays it's not so. So now when you put up a small hydel turbine, hydel power project, you must be careful. This concept has failed. I think Baruka company had some hydel projects elsewhere. I asked him. Yellow, very few. Very few. Yellow North Canada, yellow Sapa in very few places have the water flowing. I think Hebbe Falls on this near Cameron. But then they may not allow you. If there are environmental, you can't put up a hydel project everywhere you want. There are environmental clearance required for that. So I just give an example of. So, for example, one paper plant in Edur failed because paper needs consistency of 4%. That means you need 24 tons of water for 1 ton of paper. No, 24 tons of water you initially have to put along with the pulp and grind it and crushing, pulping. Then you can recover out of that. You can recover a lot of water. You can reuse elsewhere. But then now the company which put up that plant they underestimate the water resources. Only after running the plant you will come to know. Then because of, please look at the whole problem. Because of water, they could not produce their capacity of 30 tons per day. Avagala 1985 30 tons per day ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 ton paper ಮಾರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 10,000. 10,000 ಅಂದ್ರೆ 30 ಟನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ, 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪರ್ ಡೇ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್. If you work 300 days, see, you end up doing 9 crores sales in a year. I mean, full capacity. 10 ಕೋಟಿ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ it is not the issue of waste paper. It was a waste paper based plant. It was not the raw material. It was not the people. It was not the machinery. They brought a machinery working in Norway. Only first class paper ಮಾಡ್ತದ್ದು. I think that machine, that equipment was printing currency quality papers, bond papers. ಇದು machinery ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು, people were there, but then ನೀರಿಲ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋರು, ನಾವು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ನೀರನ್ನ ಪಂಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರಾತ್ರಿಗೆ ರನ್ ಮಾಡೋರು. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್, ದೆನ್ ರಿಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ಸ್, ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೀರು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ pH 7 ಇರಬೇಕು ಪೇಪರ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ವಾಟರ್. ದ pH ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ 7. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆ್ಯಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಲಮ್. Then obsolescence of raw materials, alternate sources, specifications, materials, again imports. Of course, we can't import water. Then process. The quality of the output, my dear teachers, depends on the quality of the inputs. If you ensure the quality of the inputs and the process is standard, quality of the output is automatically assured. Then again, we have in the process dimensions like productivity. I explained to you. I'm talking here about workers, safety, health, and environment of workers, safety of the workers, health of the workers, and of course, environmental issues. Internal environment inside the factory, external environment. Are you spoiling external environment? Many are. We don't know. Then, of course, occupational hazards. Then we also generate process byproducts and waste. I told you solid waste, gas waste, liquid waste, electronic waste, radiation, others. The waste could be either hazardous or otherwise dangerous or normal. If it is hazardous and dangerous, then you come under the Pollution Control Board Act. We have Air Pollution Act, we have Water Pollution Act, we have Environment Act, there are many. Then treatment of these waste, reuse, recover, salvage, dispose of. Byproducts. See, there's a separate act called E-Waste Management Act, separate act for solid industrial waste and effluents, separate act for biomedical waste, separate act. The electronic includes also radiation. So we must be aware of the process, what kind of byproducts waste it generates, whether we can recycle. I told you, I gave you example of sugar, where we have molasses we reuse, where we have bagasse we reuse, where we have the gas we can reuse. Then spent mud, this mud is that can be used as a manure, fertilizer. So nothing goes waste there, even in iron and steel plant. Then not only they make molasses to generate rectified spirit, some companies also manufacture what is called ethanol, absolute alcohol, which can be used to run the vehicles. These are all very positive way of looking at things. When we talk about economic viability, my dear teachers, the entrepreneurs should know that there is something called fixed cost, which is fixed over here. Supposing your investment in land, machinery, building, everything is fixed cost. So it's called initial investment cost. So they may say, okay, machinery some 5 crores, land 1 crore, others about 4 crores, 10 crores is your fixed cost. Then you have variable cost. Variable cost directly varies with the output, the raw material cost, that this overhead, power and all. Then when you sell a product, your sales minus variable cost is the contribution. How much is contributing your sales? I'm not talking about fixed cost. Then there's something called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the cost of the best alternative forgone. And my dear students, my dear teachers, there's something called hidden cost. We normally overlook this. One fine day, you will find that you are not replaced your machinery. Machinery is obsolete, gone. So you need another 5 crores for machinery. You should have created a depreciation fund out of your profit. If you had saved every certain amount every year, you would have had enough fund to buy a new machine. That machinery depreciation cost to be inbuilt into your main original costing. Opportunity cost. Supposing you invest 10 crores in a industry, how much you are going to generate? Supposing you put that money in real estate, how much you get? Supposing you put that money in mutual funds, how much you will get? Supposing you put that money in bank. You must keep in mind. See, here if you put the money in equipment and your land is safe, equipment for that much money you are lost. Plus you are also paying interest. So when you do costing, again, costing is not an expert job. It's all common sense. If you want to know more technically about the cost, then you need experts like MBA Finance or ICAA or Chartered Accountants. They will tell you all. But it's common sense, more of common sense. You must keep in mind all these costs, build this cost into our costing, then fix the price. Just because we have to do some, we call it as initial marketing strategy. Initially, you may price less, but over a period of time, you must price what it is actually the price. Means what? I'll come to a little bit later. So, market, we must make a survey of the market. Nowadays, it's easy. If there's a demand for car, there's also demand for, see, the demand for motor vehicle insurance is directly proportional to the number of vehicles sold. As simple as that. If India has a potential of 4 million cars, means the 40 lakhs cars are sold, 40 lakhs policies have to be marketed there. So out of 40 lakhs cars, if 20 of them use finance, so you have got the finance market for 20 lakhs cars in India per annum. Likewise, 1 crore, let's say, motorcycles. So you have to make a survey. Keep in mind your competitors, dynamisms of the market, alternative products, services, visibility, market segmentation, test marketing, strategy, and 5 P's. 5 P's are price, product, packaging, promotion. You have to keep in mind the risk of resources, risk of the process, risk in the market, risk in finance. Now, how are you going to cover your risk? You accept risk and say, yes, I know, or you transfer your risk. When you transfer your risk, you are insuring. I just conclude now with this. We all know that cost plus profit is equal to price. So when you want to price a product, keep in mind your cost. I told you entire cost. Then you decide what profit you want. 5%, 6%, 8%, 10%, add the price. Sometimes you don't have to price is fixed in the market. So price, you can't sell above that. Minus cost is your profit. Sometimes price is fixed, sometimes profit is demanded on you. So you must control your cost. You see now, in the first area, you are free to fix your profit range, fix the price, you can sell. In the second one, price is fixed in the market. You know the cost, because cost is you're not under your control, remaining is your profit. In the third model, price minus, even sometimes profit is fixed. The market wants, financial investors want some profit. Accordingly, you have to work out your cost. Then there's something called cost of capital. How much you have to pay for servicing your capital. We discussed about opportunity cost. I discussed about fixed cost, variable cost, semi-fixed, semi-variable. Then cost of image. Sometimes, we spend money for cost of image. Then there is PBT and PAT, profit before taxes and profit after taxes. Then there is something called goodwill, which you have generated already because of your product. That's an asset for you. When you sell your business, if the business is actually financially, say, worth about 40 crores, you can add another 20 crores for goodwill. You can sell. So you can say that my turnover is 100 crores every year. So give me 3 times that, 4 times that, because of your goodwill. Then flowing back. When you flow back your profits into the business, it becomes added capital. Then buying back of shares. Infosys did that. They bought back the shares. Please think over this. It's a beautiful concept, buying back of shares. Think over what happens that. If you have any doubt, please connect me on the phone or on my email. So, Future Skills Prime is a Government of India initiative. They said digital upskilling. Digital skilling is now made more affordable for all, and learners can upskill in 10 of the most in-demand technologies and incentives. Okay, this is all the program. I don't know, just see, it's up to Bhagyalakshmi to see whether you can become a skill upgradation center of your college. Means this is another initiative available. Okay, with this I have closed. Thank you very much for patient hearing. I could see a lot of silence. I take it as patient hearing and attentive hearing. If you have any questions, you can let me know.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, participants can ask questions. Sir is waiting for your response. Sir, I guess there are no questions probably.
When there are no questions and no doubts, it means they have understood everything. Or anyway, I take it on the positive side. Good.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for your encouraging speech, sir. On behalf of ATME College of Engineering and on behalf of our participants, I wholeheartedly thank you for taking time from your busy schedule. Once again, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜೈ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, so participants, please note that test feedback and valedictory event will start at 2:30 p.m. So I request all the participants to kindly join the valedictory session. So I repeat, the valedictory session will start at 2:30 p.m. Also, there will be a test and test will be for duration of 1 hour. So test will begin at 3:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Thank you. Also, I have shared the feedback form. Please do fill the feedback form.
And there will be a group photo, virtual group photo. Please do join us for that valedictory function. We need to send this as a report to ATAL. So I request the cooperation and support from all the participants for the valedictory program. Thank you, all and all.
Thank you. Thank you.